Good morning. Are we broadcasting? Let's see. Looks like the microphone's picking up. Looks like we have actual throughput, which is fantastic. And okay, so it says we've been up for 12 seconds. Let me go and verify that we're actually there. Go to another page here and see if I can see myself on the TV. Welcome, everybody. This is I'm KevinlyFather. We're just messing around right now. We are testing the settings here at the Rusty Bed Studios. Our producer, Denise, got herself the Verizon 5G internet box, which doesn't connect to your wall. You just plug it in, and then it just picks up 5G signal off the air. And the testing of it has been fantastic. Just so you know, I'm not being paid by Verizon. We're not sponsored in any way by Verizon. I just happen to have Verizon as my cell phone coverage, which has always been the best. I've tried other services. I always come back to Verizon. T-Mobile was pretty decent. It just so happened that most people in my family plan uh, had Verizon or lives in areas where Verizon was better, but T-Mobile seems to be doing okay as well. AT&T, I'm not even sure they exist anymore. Just in case AT&T, I'm just going to delete this broadcast after watching, maybe tomorrow or whatever. So I'll see what I want. But anyway, the Verizon 5G came. Xfinity was getting at her place about 5 megabytes per second upload, and would die, would go away and come back and die and come back. And I tried to broadcast the other day, and it wasn't a success. In fact, one of them just crapped out completely. And the next time, well, the first time I think I knocked the dongle out. But anyway, I'm not even using the dongle right now, and I'm not getting 5 megabytes upload. I'm getting 20 megabytes upload. And this is from a device that's not even connected to anything. It's all wireless over the cell towers. It's amazing. So I'm very impressed, and better download speed as well. Getting about 100 download speed instead of 80 to 90. Even though the Xfinity box was connected directly to the wall, I'm in pain, my friends. I have a toothache, which I actually went to the dentist up here. I'm in Seattle this week. I'm going home today. Yay! I went to the dentist because the tooth hurts so bad. It's all right now, except every time I breathe or suck. I mean, I suck constantly, right? It hurts. So the dentist up here said, you know what? Try wearing a mouth guard for a couple of weeks and see if, because there's something going on inside the roots, and I'll either need a root canal or it's going to calm down on its own. So we'll see what happens. So good news. We're not really doing anything official here. I just wanted to test out the system to make sure that we were getting good throughput. I don't want to leave producer Denise in a lurch. And so far, we have exactly 0 dropped frames, which is absolutely fantastic. This is a little meme that my daughter, Kevinly daughter, sent to us. And it's got a cat, and the cat is eating a board that says, "My cat will try to eat this," which I think is hilarious. Mm. Good morning. Good morning, Thomas. Good morning, Dark Liberty. Good morning, Allison. Good morning, Steph. Welcome, everybody. It's 6:48 here on the West Coast. I have no agenda this morning. I just wanted to test this out, and we'll see how long it goes. It does hurt me to talk, I've discovered, as I'm breathing in and out over that tooth. It's not happy about things. But I did wear a bite guard last night. We're coming to you live from the Rusty Bed Studios. Rusty is up. I'm being, I hope, kind of quiet. I have not seen uh, producer Denise yet. I gave Rusty his breakfast. I haven't given producer Denise her breakfast. I gave Rusty his breakfast in the crate. I made some eggs and pancakes for producer Denise. I put those in her crate. I'm assuming because there's 2 crates in here. I'm assuming one is hers. Haven't seen her yet, so I'll report back to you guys if that happens. I hope she's still fast away sleeps. So let's just check out Fox and Friends just to broadcast and see if this makes any sense. So much is happening right now in the news, but it's also there was the Know Nothing Party. We've had that before. We've had the Do Nothing Party in the United States. Right now, we are the Know Nothing country. All of the information about Trump's and the what's going on with the Trump Foundation was with the Weaselhead pleading guilty. but not going to testify against Trump, only the organization, which hurts Trump's, but no, Trump's not going to jail because of that. It's a corporate thing, so he just doesn't have the liability to end up in jail. That's the way it is. Establish yourself a corporation if you never want to go to jail. And then what the right wing is calling a raid at Mar-a-Lago, uh, obviously criminal activity going on. In fact, the most important thing from the case yesterday, that the right wing, well, not the right wing, sorry, the media wants the affidavit to be released, so we get the details of why the FBI thought it was a good idea to go into the house with a search warrant and take away boxes and boxes of classified and or unclassified documents. The most important part of the hearing yesterday, from what I can discern, is that at one point someone said, "Hey, with these alleged probable cause, we really need to know." And the judge interrupted and said, "No, there was absolutely probable cause. That's why I issued the warrant. So we know that there was provable criminal activity, or at least probable cause, in order to sign a warrant to go into a former president's house." Oh, no, it's a former. I don't care. Every American is subject to this. We have the Fourth Amendment to protect the illegal search and seizures and the papers, and the Sixth Amendment and all that other stuff. A president, once he's out of office, is just as likely to be raided as anybody else. In fact, much more likely when it comes to classified documents. And if he's coming for him, doesn't mean they're coming for you. I have no fear whatsoever. Hold on, let me just check. I'm not at my own house right now, but I'm not hearing no FBI choppers outside right now, and it is pre-dawn. We're right at the cusp of dawn right now. So I'm not worried about it. Dark Liberty says, my son brought home my mom's cat. Poor guy is so frightened and confused. Oh, Rudy's explanation was hilarious. Rudy, by the way, had to testify. He's now a target, which means he's a suspect. It works backwards in the criminal system. First, you're a suspect, which means we're just kind of looking at things. And a target is, we're going to charge you. Is really high likelihood. We've got the evidence we need. We're going to ask you to testify. Just so you know, you can go ahead and plead the fifth. We got a bunch of evidence on you, and it's likely you're going to be charged. And that's what a target is. So Rudy's a target. He testified for 5-6 hours in Georgia in terms of the election fraud. And we don't know what he said. So far, I haven't seen any leaks on that. And honestly, I don't really care that much. But anyway, it'd be nice to see him go to jail. Here's Fox and Friends. Let's see what they're talking about this morning. Before I get into that, Chuck Grassley, who is the second in power in the Senate for the Republicans, Kevin McCarthy, who is the leader in the House for the Republicans, are both saying there's going to be 87,000 new agents for the IRS, and they're going to come after you and take your guns and money. And they're going to be walking in with what Chuck Grassley called AK-15s. He either means AK-47s or AR-15s. I'm not sure which one, but we can assume that he's talking about the IRS coming to kill you with heavily armed rifles. That makes no sense, but you know what I'm saying. I'm talking about AK-15s, maybe 16s or 17s. I've heard some people are saying it could go as high as 18 or possibly even 20. That's what's going to happen if Joe Biden gets into power. It's all nonsense. There's just funding in the bill to replace a bunch of IRS agents that have retired. The IRS has cut back its budget by about 20% since 2010, which also has led to a shortfall of about $400 billion to $1 trillion a year in tax cheating that's happened. The IRS just hasn't had the agents to enforce the laws that are already on the book, just trying to catch people who owe the IRS money. That's all. When you call the IRS, there is one IRS agent, and I've had to do this before, so personal note, if I may, it's really hard to get an answer from the IRS. I have wacky jobs, so I need answers sometimes. There's one IRS agent for every 15,000 callers. You can do the math on that. And you're like, no. There's like 78,000 IRS agents per 150 million. Okay, no. I'm talking about the people who actually answer the phone calls and give you the information you need to do your taxes. One for 50,000. We need more IRS agents desperately. But the right is saying that they're hiring 87,000 enforcement officers to carry around rifles and hunt you down. It's got nothing to do with reality. And you'll have to trust me on that because my domesticated partner, who you know as producer Joanna, she's being audited. So I know it's nothing. There's no agents coming to her place and threatening her with rifles. I mean, if there was, it'd be a much quicker process, actually, and probably cost a lot less, too. If the IRS just actually came to your door and said, hey, we need $500, $5,000, whatever it is, so much less than having to pay accountants and attorneys and all the other stuff, and it just drags out forever. But she's my domesticated partner. That's what I said. I didn't say domestic partner. Listen to the words. But let's get into it.
On American Idol,
right. They're like, why?
Sometimes she empties the dishwasher. She does do most of the laundry. I am very lucky in that regard. And I like folding towels because they're nice and symmetrical. I'm not trying to break any news here. But yeah, no, I call her my domesticated partner for people who are confused. Because she's good at baking. She's a fantastic baker, which, by the way, is a negative. It's really hard to try and get into shape when someone in your house is a fantastic baker. Yeah, you don't want to marry yourself a chef. Just FYI. Oh yeah, really, the only reason to be in a relationship when it comes to the bonus for marriage, if you don't want to raise yourself kids or something like that and have some kind of get a break on your car insurance, but to have someone in your life besides a husband or a wife, the real reason, and kids eventually, is so that you can fold sheets. That's really, when it comes right down to it. After a few years, that's the only bonus.
My dad, I used to play the clarinet. My dad used to go, what song?
Because nowadays, you can do everything else. Like, how long did it take you to do the New York Times mini crossword? That can be done anywhere on the planet because we have the internet. So the internet's really replaced the need to have a significant other in your life. Well, they can still be significant, but just, thousands of miles away. Stephanie asks, are you coming by at some point for some tomatoes before winter? Maybe. I actually might. I'm going to be doing the voiceover room at some point here, hopefully very soon. And I might need some more what's called mass-loaded vinyl, which is a noise-blocking, very heavy vinyl to keep out the noise of the airplanes and the buses and all that sort of stuff. So I might have to make a trip to Sacramento because that's where it's cheapest. We'll find out.
How long are you trying to play?
You're like, Mary had a...
We'll talk about these things at movie night tonight. For those of you who don't know, if you're a patron, you can become a patron, right? Oh, this is backwards at Rusty Bet Studios. If you're a patron, go to KevinlyFather.com. We do Friday night movie nights where we watch a movie together. There's the Amazon has the party night or movie share night, whatever. We'll figure it out. But anyway, we watch movies together, and we usually end up talking more than actually watching the movie.
I'm like, it's bad enough my older brother was a better athlete than me, but then when he was better in music, I almost quit. Quit the world.
Did you want to play the clarinet? Because I played the saxophone.
This is the hard-hitting news that we're here for.
Enjoyable?
I liked it.
You did like it.
The hardest part was getting the reed, with the embouchure thing, and getting the reed nice and moist so that it sounded
I would make my own reeds. I'd cut down a tree and whittle.
He's handy.
I wouldn't. Now, the hard part about the saxophone is bringing it to school.
I think every child...
You get on the bus, you just bring it in.
No, the tuba guy, he's in trouble.
No, the tuba guy leaves with his mouthpiece.
The saxophone probably weighs 5 pounds more than your clarinet.
See, I played the violin, and my case was this big, and I used...
Did you ever open it?
I did.
As a guy who was never a band geek, I'm still enjoying this conversation.
For 2 years, my mom made...
I did play the trombone. I played the trombone in college.
All of us play, so we would be able to read music, which I think is a good idea. But I would go through crowds, and I would put the case in between people so I couldn't create a spot
very New Yorker
to try to get to the...
Wait, what did she play? I missed that. Was it the clarinet?
Your thing to do.
Well, you know.
No, Stephanie played the bass clarinet. The bass clarinet, that is a rarity.
Well, here we are talking about how hard it was to get to school with our.
I wish I had put my kids into band. They love musical instruments. Both very musical. My daughter doesn't play anything. She really should start playing something because she now sings and records and stuff like that. She's got a wonderful voice. I should have gotten her into something like that. My son makes computer music. In fact, he kind of took a year off of work after coding and making more money than all of us put together. By the way, I have no son, and I'll tell you why. Yeah, I won't tell you why. No, he's great. His hockey league changed the time and place of his playoff game last night, and he neglected to tell me, and so I missed it. And I was anyway. We'll talk about that during movie night tonight, or we won't. Who knows? Let's get back to the news at hand.
Musical.
Just to update you, so far 0 dropped frames. So we've been broadcasting for 16 minutes. And so far, Verizon 5G internet has really held up its own here. There's not a single dropped frame, which is amazing.
Instruments. Imagine you're the Macklemores. Wherever they go, they've got to take smokers and grills, and they've filled up Fox Square. And there they are, John. And good morning, guys. What are you making for us today on Fox Square?
I can't watch this because it's going to make me very hungry. Let's jump forward. There's got to be some news at some point.
Close.
And again, we're stuck in sort of a know nothing phase of news. Everything that we hear doesn't tell us anything. When they release parts of the affidavit next week, it's not going to tell us anything. The Republicans will jump all over it, and they will take the falsehoods that they see because of the omissions of actual facts and information in the affidavit, which is going to be heavily redacted, and they will run with those. And as we saw from Bill Barr talking about the Mueller report before the Mueller report was released, whatever those first things are, those first misconceptions that are put out there by a single source, those will be the ones that stick. And the president will claim he's been exonerated no matter what.
Depending on when your clock went off. Let's talk about what's been nonstop. The bell went off probably a month ago between the battle between the mayor of New York City. I don't know why the governor's not fighting the other governor, but Governor Abbott of Texas. And it started simply as Governor Abbott said, I cannot get the government's attention. Our border is busted. It is broken. Fentanyl is flooding in. We've got millions of people coming across. I don't have the facilities to handle it. So I think I'll send some of these illegals into Washington, D.C.
They're not illegals. Once they're processed and released into the country, they are not illegals. They have legal standing, not illegals anymore. And it is dangerous because people will occasionally take up arms against immigrants. We are a nation of immigrants, and we desperately need more people. We still have 11 million open jobs in this economy and 3.5% unemployment. The lowest unemployment we've had since I was born. And I just turned 53. And we have 11 million open jobs, which doesn't explain why I don't have a real job.
So we put buses together at about 60 at a time while we're in Washington. Well, the New York City mayor comes out and goes, why are you dumping illegals?
Who are these people taking iPhone and iPad pictures? What's happening here? Who are those people?
In our city, and he said, I'm not, but I will. And he starts sending them up to the port, over the Port Authority right here in New York City. And now the war of words continues between the mayor and the governor of Texas, saying what he's doing is un-American. What's un-American is allowing illegals to flood our country and not enforce.
That's not un-American. That's the law. That's how it works. And they're not illegals.
A border, that to me is almost criminal.
Here's the New York City mayor.
It's not criminal. That's the point. It's abiding by the law set forth by the representatives chosen by the people of this country. That's called democracy. There have been ample times to reform the immigration policy in this country. It's failed every time because the Republicans have sabotaged it. I'm only talking about the last 40 years.
It's the worst type of politics. It's hateful politics to raise his national profile. And you know what? You should not be doing it by taking away the respect and dignity of people who are in need. With the Texas government,
I don't know about the taking away their respect and dignity. From what I understand, and I could be wrong because I'm not in Texas, the people get on there voluntarily. They're told, you're going to New York City. Do you want to go? And they say, yes, please. And they go. Wow, sorry. I can the windows open in the Rusty Pet Studios and I hear the freeway noise. I hope that's not translating through to you folks.
governor is doing is just so anti-American.
Have you spoken directly to the governor?
No, I have not. Our team reached out to him when we first discovered what he was doing, and we asked, let's coordinate, because crisis calls for coordination.
Well, the governor
That's true.
in Texas did ask him, come down to Texas, come to our border and see for yourself what we're dealing with here. What you're dealing with is just a small little taste. We have the big enchilada down here. And New York, if the numbers are correct, I think the numbers are higher now because we've seen more and more flock into New York City. But the last number said 4,000 have been sent here to New York, 800 by Governor Abbott. That means 3,100 by Joe Biden.
They get that every 7 minutes in Texas.
Exactly. A fourth by Governor Abbott. So why isn't the mayor calling Joe Biden anti-American? This is such a double standard. It's okay for Joe Biden to send them. We never heard a peep out of...
Well, no, actually, neither of them are being anti-American. This is how the process works. What the governor is doing is wrong. That's not part of the system. There's a system for distributing these immigrants. They're being sent where they can be processed, where they can be helped, and where they can become part of the workforce. Not everybody coming into the country is allowed to work right away, but there is a process for getting them the ability to be able to work. New York City does need workers, but New York City doesn't have the capacity because it's just not set up that way. And I think Rusty's right outside. Let me go see if Rusty wants to be let out. You want to come in? Okay, Rusty wanted to come in and hang out, so he's going to do that, and then he's going to go to the door, and then he's going to whimper until he gets let out because he wants to go see his mommy. Here we go.
Here in New York City, when Biden was sending all those secret flights to Westchester, they still are, but yet he's...
There's no secret flights. The flights are public record.
Going after the governor of Texas, who's sending a small portion. This
voluntarily
just proves this
getting
so
a free
political.
bus.
So when Biden sends people to other places in the United States, it's really, really bad. But when Governor Abbott does it, that's fine, right? Because the other thing is bad. So this must be good.
Right.
That's right.
That they want to come to New York. They have family members
And
here.
now they get a hotel room.
Here's the governor of Texas.
Hey, whatever you're doing, knock
He
it off.
didn't say that to President Biden when President Biden was flying people from Texas to New York. And so he's really nothing more than a hypocrite. He's playing politics with all of this. He's also being a hypocrite.
Why won't you fly the peoples?
Because New York City is a self-declared sanctuary city. And so why he's ever complaining for one moment about these people being bussed into a city goes against his own self-declaration of being a sanctuary city.
No, he is a sanctuary city. They are a sanctuary city, and therefore they're not going to kick these migrants out, but they're not prepared for them in the first place. It's two different things.
True.
Why are there so few reasonable people in the government? I mean, apart from, I don't know, Pete Buttigieg?
That is such a good point, because New York famously has been a sanctuary city for a very, very long time. So you would think that we would be welcoming them with open arms, and the city is, but now the city is.
Okay, so the city is. All right, so what else are you going to say about that?
They got to blame somebody.
Dark Liberty says illegals is a racist, dehumanizing, otherizing term. If you disagree, see how many other types of lawbreakers Fox News calls illegals. Yeah.
So it's going to be that darn Republican governor down in Texas. Keep in mind, the mayor here in New York City started complaining after I think they'd only received 1 or 2 buses, maybe 50 or 60 people. And Ainsley, you're
right, and they knew more were coming because Texas kept saying, we're sending you more, too. That's what we're going to do.
Absolutely right. In the last few weeks, New York City has seen about 4,000 migrants, but less than 1,000 of them came on the buses.
So that's about a quarter. That's a lot.
A lot of them, as we have detailed before, have come to the New York City area at the direction of Border Patrol. When they process people, they wind up giving the NGOs, the non-government organizations, wind up giving.
All right, let's skip through this because okay,
people.
This is very much a New York City issue.
Mayor.
Okay, so
Text.
they're going to go on about that. Migrants is what this next election is. What the Republicans are trying to make this about because inflation is starting to slow. Gas prices have come way down. Gas prices in Seattle got up to about $5.69, almost $6 in some places. Saw it yesterday for $3.99. Gas prices have plummeted in Washington State. Hopefully, they plummeted near you too.
On American soil.
Okay, migrants.
Fiction.
Video, and when you see that gate, those.
Here we go. Okay, so apparently some Customs and Border Patrol unlocked a border gate to allow more migrants. Okay, yeah. Did you see? So in some areas where the wall has holes, the wall has lots and lots of gaps. It's been compromised more than 3,000 times, and that was a year ago. Probably compromised more now. Trump's wall. In some places, during gaps in the wall, they have been placing 2 shipping containers on top of each other. By the way, really easy to get over 2 shipping containers. Grappling rope, ladder, $5 ladder that you can build yourself. I mean, it's actually not hard. Anyway, the wind actually blew one of these shipping containers off the other one, which is incredibly dangerous for anybody hanging around. But it's incomprehensible that can happen, but it did.
In our southern.
Stephanie, I don't believe that you ever clean a cast iron skillet. You just do something called seasoning to it. I'm not sure what that means, but I think it's like just dipping it in oil or something. You know what? I'm sure there's people with better information than me.
Border, it's wide open.
When you look back at President Trump's administration, he not only gave us the infrastructure, but he also gave us the policy. When you look,
never built the wall, except now he says he did build the wall.
Look at that video, and when you see that gate, those fences were made to stop people from evading apprehension.
What about the wall? I thought there was a big wall.
Fortunately, those people were in the United States. They already made.
So, okay, couple of kids. I see a couple of kids. I see a mother.
Illegal entry. They already committed a crime. So we had to take them in.
I see a few single males. Okay.
Custody. That's why you're seeing them open the gate to take them into custody, because they already committed that crime. And that stopped. That didn't happen under President Trump because he gave up.
No, that happened a lot under President Trump. 2019 was the highest year on record since the early 2000s.
The policy as well. When you see that, that clearly shows how bad the Biden administration.
They're totally happy to take the effects of COVID if it's a positive for them, and then completely ignore it when it comes to anything like the economy or shutting down schools or shutting down businesses, etc. That all happened under Trump, remember.
Policies are that we take people into custody and they're able to congregate behind that fence because they know that ultimately they're going to be released into the United States.
So just to add to this, this is what, just to go full circle, Mayor Adams has a great opportunity to be a national figure. For some reason, him and Joe Biden hit it off. I have no idea why, but they've done. They've hit it off. If he went down to the border, took Governor Abbott up on his offer, saw it for himself, said, this is overwhelming, we got to do something about this, went to Joe Biden.
They're doing lots and lots and lots of things about it.
Biden had this meeting. He could be the guy that actually helps Beto O'Rourke and meets with Beto O'Rourke, too, in Texas, as he tries. I think he's single digits from Governor Abbott, if you believe some of the latest polls, to show Democrats care. But instead, he just says, Abbott is doing the worst possible thing. Illegal immigration, okay with me. He'd probably do a lot. Also, I'm struck by Congressman Gonzalez, who went over to, I think, Guatemala. And he said, what kind of pressure are you getting from the our government to rein in your border? And he says, zero. I've had no communication with this. Remember, the root causes of illegal immigration is poverty within those countries and crime. Well, the people that want to work on the root cause.
Yeah, Dark Liberty's right there. That Mexico's agreed to pay $1.5 billion for high-tech border security. So Mexico's paying for border security, not under Trump, but under us. But Mexico did dispatch like 18,000 soldiers to various portions of their borders, not just our borders, but southern borders, of course.
are not doing it. When's the last time you heard pressure in Mexico to get those 20,000 Marines on their southern border so ours isn't overwhelmed?
I just think
this administration just allowing Central America to come here.
That's still happening.
Ignore it. We're not going to go visit. We're not going to send any of the Democrats down there. He's been invited.
Kamala's been there.
Our mayor has been invited. He's not taking the invitation. He declined it, rejected it. Right. So I think they just want to ignore the situation, ignore the issue. It's not happening. We're just going to let them all come in, and we're going
to... No, they're being processed. This is what's happening. They're again, there's money for more Customs and Border Patrol people in the new bill.
Going to ignore it, and we're going to house them if you're a sanctuary city.
And you know what? Because there's no real open housing.
There was, by the way, not a single Republican voted for this bill. There was lots of money in the Build Back Better plan for it. Not a single Republican. There was money for the last bill that was passed, the American Rescue Act, right when Joe Biden got into office, which the Republicans now blame for inflation. Lots of money for the Border Patrol, which was then distributed to the Border Patrol and will be distributed over the next 10 years, 5 years actually, to the Border Patrol. Not a single Republican voted for it.
Here in New York City for the homeless people, Brian, you mentioned the hotels. We told you about a couple of days ago about how they had apparently taken over 1,000 rooms at the place that used to be called the Milford Plaza. Then the next day, it turns out they're looking for 5,000, so they're up to 6,000. There's a big story in the New York Post today that talks about how the New York City Hotel Association is saying, hey, anybody who needs a place, we have plenty of hotel rooms.
Why do you think those hotels are empty right now?
Well,
no one's coming to New York because of crime and this kind of thing.
Yeah, no one's coming to New York. It's crime. It's got nothing to do with. By the way, we're considering going to New York shortly. I'm hoping that's going to happen because it looks like fun. But I'm not worried about crime in New York. There's always been crime in New York. It was far worse in the 80s and 90s, and the 70s for that matter, than it is right now. New York's okay, folks. It's all right. Don't panic. Dark Liberty's going to New York City tomorrow.
Extraordinarily, the hotels are at 80% occupancy right now. After the pandemic, something like 90 hotels closed. They lost 20,000 rooms, something like that. So they've got plenty of rooms, and think about it. They've had such a lousy couple of years. If the federal government or the local government is going to say, you know, we'll take 1,000 rooms a night, and we'll pay you $400, whether or not you've got people or not. If they sign that contract, those hotels.
$400 per room? The federal government better get a much better deal than that.
Are going to make a lot of money.
It's amazing.
So there's a place for them to stay. Not only are they getting free transportation, a place to stay in the Big Apple. Welcome to New York City.
Okay. I'm glad Steve is for that.
Hotels are just sacrificing their soul to do this. But go ahead. Meanwhile, make sure you don't stay in those hotels. Who knows what's going on in there?
I see. Because the immigrants are going to come and commit the crimes in the hotels. So don't stay at those hotels. House the immigrants. Did he just listen to what Steve said?
Maybe they're going to be complaining about the room service, too, on top of that. Meanwhile, 14 minutes after the hour, a convicted sex offender is back on the streets after nearly killing a man right there in this attack. How liberal policies across the United States are letting criminals like this.
No, there are plenty of crime everywhere, and this was happening before liberal policies. This is happening in other countries. There is crime. This guy did not just hit this other person because some liberal policy somewhere. He hit this person because he's a psycho.
Off the hook over and over.
Plus, watch this. Good Samaritans save a man trapped in this overturned car. The incredible story coming up next.
Unbelievable.
I don't know how that's unbelievable. That's a bunch of people pushing over a car. That's good. That was the whole first segment? Was all immigrants. Wow. We're in trouble, folks. So right now, 3 months to go till the midterms, it looks like that's what they're going to concentrate on. Because, like I said, as it turns out, inflation's bad, but things are starting to turn around. And honestly, people not really that upset by inflation. And again, gas is coming down. That's the biggest thing people notice. The price of eggs up by 30% or whatever. People are still buying eggs. There's things that have gotten more expensive, and that's terrible. And I hate having to spend more money. but also we're not in the pandemic anymore. Life is so much better than it was under Trump. I mean, objectively, for just about everybody. There's plenty of jobs out there, a record number of jobs, record low unemployment during my lifetime. Yeah, we need people. We desperately need more people in this country. We're not giving birth to enough babies. And I'm done. I'm out. I've had my two. I've doubled up on what I came onto the planet with. So please get out there and have kids. All right. Speaking of kids, it's been 35 minutes and we haven't dropped a single frame. So I'm going to give Verizon 5G a big thumbs up. I'll give it 2 thumbs up. I'll give it 3 thumbs up. I wish there was a way I could freeze and then bring more thumbs. I can't. Still $1.95. That sounds so cheap in Ireland for gas, Thomas. But of course, that's also in. Do you guys, are you on euros or pounds now? You guys are still on euros, right? You're still. But you have to multiply that by 4. Philharmonic says gas is now $3.20-ish, where he regularly fuels up. That's back to being, I don't know, reasonable. We should be paying a lot more for gas anyway. Ironically, with all the green energy stuff going on, the price of hydrogen where I live in Los Angeles has gone up by about 50%, when it should be getting cheaper because a new plant making the hydrogen just opened up. It's wacky. But anyway, the price of gas, unfortunately, drives everything up. Yeah, Thomas is still on the euro then. And so you're looking at, what is that? Let's take that 2. So we're looking at $8. So the dollar and the euro really about even right now. So let's call it $8.50 a gallon, which is too much. So don't go anywhere, guys. Speaking of going anywhere, I got to go and get ready and get all packed up and head to an airplane and burn some jet fuel. So everybody have a great day. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. Most importantly, be good to Rusty. He's a good boy.